Hey guys, it's Scott here from Horse Racing Daily, and this morning we're going to break down tomorrow's Stephen F. Foster handicap for a win your in spot for the Breeders' Cup. For right now, I'm just going to go through post position order and tell you a little bit about each horse. When I do my live stream later on tonight, I'll actually show video replays of some of the races, and we'll break it down in a lot more detail. But we'll go ahead and take it with the number one, Thirst for Life. His best race is probably his last one at Churchill, and it was a good effort. It wasn't a great effort. Not that it's going to take a great effort to really beat this field. It's probably one of the weaker fields I've seen in a long time in the Stephen Foster. But he's not the horse I want out of this race, which I'll get to coming up. The number two is Rated R Superstar. He had two good races back at Oaklawn Park when he finished third in the Razorback. Caught an extremely fast pace that race. And then in the Essex handicap, he got first. Went a little bit against the bias for the track that day, but that was also a very weak field that he beat. Then in the Oaklawn handicap, he didn't really do much running. He's going to need some pace to run into. If the pace heats up, I think he could slip up, maybe get as high as second on a good day, but he'd be somebody to put in the bottom part of your superfecta tickets. Number three, Runaway Ghost. He does his best running at Sunland Park. I went back and watched the last race, and that was a very weak field. Had a looking at Lee, American Dubai, and he really had to work big time just to put away that field. So I think the waters get deeper here for him. So it's going to be tough to really recommend him. Number four, Seeking the Soul. I think he's going to be one of the sucker bet horses that'll take some money just because of the name, and he always seems to finish in the money in these big races, but he doesn't really win it too often. It seems like the last couple years he's done his best running in like October, November time frame. So if he sticks with that, how he's been doing, it's a little early for him to get going. But he's going to take some money just because of the name. But I'd put him in the bottom of my superfecta tickets, but I think that's always going to be good for him this race. Number five, Alcatam. He's one, depending on the odds, if you're looking for a long shot potential upset pick, he might be the one, but I also think he's going to be the wise guy horse. But you can't ignore these last four workouts he's had. They've all been bullet workouts, and he's very, very lightly raced. He raced in a maiden race and then in the Remsen in 2017. Got hurt, came all the way back in August, raced once, and now I moved to the barn of Daniel Peets. And he's only raced twice, so I think he's still got another forward move, and if he takes another forward move, he could be a very big factor in this race. So given that there's not really a standout horse, if you wanted to take a chance on somebody, he would be one to look at. The number six, Gift Box. If he beats this field, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to bet him. I'm going to take a stand against him just because in like the last 8 or 9 years, only one favorite has won this race, and I think Gift Box is going to go off as the favorite. And his last race, the Santa Anita Gold Cup, didn't really impress me. Maybe he doesn't want to go a mile and a quarter, but when he did go a mile and a quarter in the Santa Anita handicap, he had everything just go his way perfect. He was near the front. The pace was really, really slow. In the Gold Cup, it was opposite. The pace was around 22 and change, 46 and change, just completely went against him. And I'm not a big fan of Vino Rosso, but this field is definitely a little bit weaker, I think, than the one he faced in the Gold Cup. So there is a chance that he could win, and it wouldn't surprise me if he did. But for betting purposes, I'm going to take a stand against him. The number seven, Tenfold. When he raced in the Pimlico Special, the female horses ran really fast times that day. Like both mile and an eighth races finished in the minute 48 time frame, and he even had a sprinter, Kafifi, running time all the way down in 107 and change. So the track was playing really, really fast that day. So you would expect a race like 1.25 miles to kind of follow suit, but it didn't. They ran all the way in 2:02.1. So I think that Tenfold still has a lot of work to do to be a factor in this race. So it's going to be tough for me to recommend because to me he's not even on par with the 3-year-old females this year. King Zachary, this is going to be one of my picks for the race. He loves Churchill Downs. He ran a very big race in the Matt Win last year. He's changed to the H Grand Motions barn, and most of the type of trainer that doesn't always have a horse fully cranked first time off the layoff, he'll point him towards a target, and I think this could be the target for King Zachary. So I look for a big forward move off that last race, and if he gets that good forward move, that puts him right in the mix to win it. So I think, given that he loves the track and the second race off the layoff, he's going to be my pick to win this, at least for my money. And the number 9, Tom's Day Top. He kind of burst on the scene towards the end of last year and was a Wise Guy horse for the Pegasus World Cup. And then he took a little bit of time off after the Pegasus, came back into Ali Sheba. I thought ran a very good race. McKenzie ended up winning the race, but McKenzie's kind of a better horse at short distances. If they kept that horse around a mile, he'd probably be the top older horse in the country right now. So I think this performance is very underrated. And I don't agree with what they say about the pace here. I think maybe the opening quarter maybe went a little slow, but then they picked it up as they went through. So I think Tom's Day Top ran a very good race and just got beat by one of the top horses at his preferred distance. Quip. If Quip won, I wouldn't be surprised. I think he does have to take another step forward because Lone Sailor is not really a horse that strikes a lot of fear into me, and he finished second to Quip in the race by a head. So if Quip did take another step forward to potentially win this, I won't be surprised. He's going to take some money because he ran on the Derby Trail last year, and those horses always seem to take some money. But given his body of work this year, I'm not going to bet him. He's going to be one of the ones that I'll have to take a stand against. But if he won, I wouldn't be surprised. Exulting, who's a Tappet, he was claimed by Karen McLaughlin, and Michael Maker's pretty good about claiming horses and getting them to bump up and win some stakes races. But he caught a perfect scenario in this race in the Oaklawn Mile. The pace was very fast, and he was able to beat a very weak field and sneak up for first. The waters get a little deeper here for him, but he'd be one to maybe put in the bottom of your tickets to get third or fourth if the pace heats up. And number 12, Yoshida. Bill Mott has some pretty good success when he brings horses to Churchill. I don't think he's going to run as bad as he did in the Bi World Cup and in the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational. If he runs back to last year's form, I think he'll beat this field. There's no telling how he's going to run, but I don't think Bill Mott would have sent him over here to run a poor effort. And if you go back and look in past Stephen F. Foster races, when Bill Mott brings a horse over, they typically do finish in the money. So he'd be a good horse to definitely put in your trifectas and superfectas. But my 2 picks for the race are going to be King Zachary and Tom's Day Tot. And my long shot play is going to be the number 5, Alcaton. And I'll probably put some exactas with some of these horses I picked with Gift Box, because I do think Gift Box is good enough to at least fill out the exacta. But for win purposes, given that favorites don't really win the race, I'm going to play against them there. But thanks guys for watching. We'll go over the video highlights on the live stream tonight.